game world or real world, seatbelts save lives.
There were two guys. Neither guy wore their seatbelt. One guy got a ticket, one guy didn't. Two guys drove home from work. One guy wore his seatbelt, one guy didn't. One guy made it home. One guy didn't.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with the 2023 ESPORTSU Invitational presented by NHTSA and Click It or Ticket. We just witnessed Northwood take down Stockton University in a sweep. They were close affairs in the games, but in the end, Northwood just had the edge. Now, we move on to see who's going to play them in the finals. This next matchup, Taco, geared to be a good one. We got U of Akron versus UTA.
And it's always a nice thing to be able to see these two teams deep in a bracket. And it's no surprise to see them there either, even though you got some retirees, some old men there. Being able to fill out those rosters is something that we're pretty used to seeing. But, I mean, that's why you're there. You're there across the extent of your collegiate education, and you're at the top from the beginning. So why not end on the same measure? So it's nice to be able to talk to two of those players that have been really able to carve, I would say, their collegiate legacy. And really, I would say, the path and storylines of a lot of collegiate Rocket League for a while.
Absolutely. Well, those old men are ready, so let's get to it. Let's talk to them. There you are, guys. Samba and Buzz. I didn't say it. Taco did. He said you guys are the geezers of the club here. How does it feel as an introduction, Buzz?
It's to be expected. I have probably the most games of anybody in the league, so you can consider me a geezer of the league, even though I'm younger than some of the other people. Well, I'll take it. I'm not mad.
I like it. I like it. And Samba, we're excited to get you guys going here in the playoffs. Any first thoughts here, getting geared in for the playoffs of the Invitational here?
I just want to point out that Nava is older than everyone in this lobby by at least a couple years. I think he's like 25, 26, maybe 30. Might have some kids out there. So, and Nava is the oldest one here, guys. So let's make sure we all know that and make fun of him.
He's got a family barbecue just outside the room.
Yes.
Brewing. He's trying to wrap this up so he can get back to the family.
He's like, I'll be right back, guys.
Get back to the kids.
Wife yelling at him just off screen. Get off the game. So, I mean, that happens. There's more responsibilities as you get a little bit older. But this matchup, obviously, is for a chance to go to that grand finals. But it's also a rematch from something you guys had a little bit earlier on in the CRL Spring Championship. It ended 4-3 in the favor of Akron. Samba, I want to be able to get your impressions on this. This is like a rematch potential for this game, but do you feel like that was kind of a toss-up series, and do you feel like things can go a different way this time?
I mean, I feel like they probably have like the better overall team, but like I feel like, or like I guess more skill, but like as a team, we're able to be with them. Like I mean, of the games we lost like pretty big 3 of them of the 4 they won. So I mean, yeah, I'm excited to see if we can do better this time.
Fair play. That's fair play. It was a close match here, Buzz. You know, UTA are coming out here as the top seed of their group, and each and every time we've interviewed Samba, he has said that they will lose to the other team, but then they end up winning. So I'm curious, Buzz, what is your pregame strategy here moving into the match?
I'm just going to hype Bullseye up because I know if I have Bullseye chasing Samba on the field, I think I'll be all right. I'll be able to put a couple balls in the net. So we're going to get him hyped, get him going.
I like it.
I think that's a good thing. Also, just, get the youngest player. Just be like, see that player right over there? That's your target. That's just, I want you on nothing else. There's not really man marking in Rocket League, but maybe there should be, and we'll maybe see that strategy implemented on in. So I'll give you guys a chance to talk to each other before this match gets started. We'll go back to you, Buzz. Anything you'd like to say to your competitor and friend Samba before we get into it?
You know, Samba, being real, it's been a pleasure these last few years, my bud. This could be the last time we're actually going to face off where you're playing against us. I know you're coaching in Columbia, so you have a little bit of influence on that team, but I'm going to consider this the last fair bout. So let's make it a good one.
It is. Just want to let you know that Bullseye's been texting me, Buzz, and he said, please get this over with because I hate my teammate, Buzz. I have the screenshots, and also I paid Bullseye to throw the series as well.
Wow.
I'm not going to say how much money it was.
A lot.
But it was a lot of money because I make so much money. I'm making money just sitting here. I don't know if y'all knew that. I own Mansfield Knight. This is my field. So just make sure y'all respect me and all that. And we're gonna lose. I mean, I've said every time we're not good enough to win, and we haven't been practicing for months. And I expect Akron to come out and sweep us.
Chestnut checkers when it comes to the psychological advantage, I would say, for UTA. Congrats to you guys for being able to meet one last time here, but also, congrats to only one of you in the future, but best of luck to you guys heading into this best of 7. Best of luck as we send you off. Get ready with your teams.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh. Pyro, that was quite the layers. I thought it was just going to end with, like, Bullseye doesn't like you. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's like, I have screenshots too. It's like, oh, okay, on top of that. It's like, and I paid him just in case. It's like, oh, okay, well, there's that on top of it. And then I thought we would get lore back with, like, the fact that Bussy referred to him, oh, he's retiring. He's working a full-time job. He's making so much money. Literally embodying the copy pasta of stop making gaming a career. It's cringe. It's like, I'm so rich. I'm driving a car. I'm dating all these wonderful women, and that's really what Sam is embodying right now. So we'll have to see if really he can back it up or prove that that's really his lifestyle right now.
I mean, listen, he said he brought the receipts, but in terms of an analyst, as I am, the receipts pay their way on the field. Okay, I got to see it on the pitch, my guy. That's what I need to see personally. So, folks, we're going to get to that very, very shortly here. Semifinals of the Invitational here, 2023 from ESPORTSU, presented by NHTSA, and Click It or Ticket is coming right up. Let's hear from NHTSA before we get to it.
Game world or real world, seatbelts save lives.
There were 2 guys. Neither guy wore their seatbelt. One guy got a ticket, one guy didn't. 2 guys drove home from work. One guy wore his seatbelt, one guy didn't. One guy made it home. One guy didn't.
And welcome back to the Click It or Ticket NHTSA pre-match seatbelt check. Before we start this semifinals match, we ensure all players are properly secured and buckled up for safety. And there you have it. You heard the click. Now you click on the NHTSA banner below to watch the video on why you should click it or ticket. Casters, back to you.
And the 2023 ESPORTSU Invitational presented by NHTSA and Click It or Ticket continues here. Northwood await the winners of UTA and University of Akron, geared up head-to-head here. Best of 7. Last time they met was in CRL Spring Nationals. Went all the way to 7. Taco, you think we're going to Game 7 again?
I mean, I'd like to see that. I'm open for it. I mean, I cleared my schedule specifically for this type of series and this type of event, so I'm down for whatever these players want to put up. Obviously, as we hear, there's a lot of kind of goofy-natured banter going back and forth between these two teams, but they are elite squads, despite what Sambo might want to portray about UTA, that they don't practice, we're just whatever, making fun of teammates. Like, they have been around for a while. They don't need really a lot of warm-up to be able to get back into the mix of things, and just trying to prove that with this initial out back and forth. It's like we're watching volleyball as he's getting volleyed back left and right. Tristan go for the spike, but not going to land this time.
Not this time around, though. Akron feel like they've taken control here at the start of this series. And yeah, they're kind of, with every hit, they're battling away the banter that we had earlier. I feel like they still did practice for this event. I mean, the receipts and the screenshots have already been countered in the chat here, so maybe that could be countered as well. Nonetheless, UTA will have plenty to counter in the way of what Akron is in store for this matchup. As Bullseye, he was predicted to go headhunting here. See if any of that comes to form. So far, they've just got to worry about more shots from UTA.
And being able to deal with all the shots is quite the task here. I think in CRL, more than any other level of Rocket League, the amount of saves and shots that get racked up are insane, because I think the teams have developed this kind of meta of just trying to make sure, okay, I'm just going to chip away at your back line over shot after shot after shot after shot. And so you do get a little bit of stat padding, but you don't always get that high efficiency. It's the teams that can work through that I think are always the most successful. And now UTA is being met with quite the resistance, I would say, on the back line. And same with the offenses. Tristan over something crazy there. The ceiling pinch, nearly picking out that back post.
Very, very close. You can tell, again, we're in another game where no matter where that ball is, it's in a lethal state. There is the opportunity for a pinching play such as that. There's also the chance for players to get locked into each other there on the goal line. It's a mass adverse. Cleans it up, though, with the first goal.
Look at the improv here from Samba. The assist is better than the goal here. Gets the deflection off the sidewall, off the initial touch, then regains it into a catch flip reset to then get it up and over, where Adverse will be able to bury that one. And that's just classic UTA. Adverse Samba been a striking duo since really the very beginning of me even covering collegiate play, and really nothing has changed.
That's a fact. I think even that play was capped off with a tiny little bump on the Buzz off the backboard. So it's good to see Samba and Buzz not only butting heads on the desk here on the interview stage, but also on the field. Samba having the better of that play, and most certainly this one as well. The clear in favor of Samba as he hunts Buzz again, but no boost to chase him here. Buzz instead a second touch off the side wall. Boost down to the ground as Tristan takes advantage here. Has a pop as well, but no leaping Buzz. Couldn't climb to the touch.
Ooh, but that 50 is perfect to be able to land on Samba as he tries to go low, but Tristan, he's been around the block a few times. Not going to be fooled by that one, apparently. Adverse, however, gets a block. Actually, a reset there. I did not see that initially. Took Tristan to then echo back, say, fine, I'll make another stop. Gets a pinch off the post, and Akron be able to get away with it very nearly a 2-0.
Very, very close indeed, but maybe we might have a tie game effort, taking advantage of that. Bullseye taking advantage there, putting Samba back in his own goal as Adverse moves up the field, but he's bullied out of the play, and immediately the entire counterattack diffuses off of a demolition. This is just good game sense coming out of Akron to diffuse the play wherever they can. Demolitions reigning superior in this game.
And being able to demo through is something that Buzz actually has talked about in the interviews in last week when we were doing group stages, where he says, yeah, back in the day I used to be able to target people and really take them out and tilt them, and even though I don't lean into it as heavily now, it's still kind of something I love to do, to be able to disrupt things, because even if a player doesn't really get tilted, you know over time it must be frustrating as a defender saying, okay, that's going to be over me, and then your teammate, instead of saying, yeah, I got you, is just saying, nah, bro, I'm not even there. I have to still respawn before I can even think about helping you out.
Yeah, those respawns can be a little tilting, waiting to get right back on the pitch and attack the ball again. It's exactly what Bullseye is going to do. They have to attack here. 30 seconds to go. 1 goal deficit. Ball's going to go the other way. Adverse may have a second touch if Tristan can't pop this right back up. It's what he will do. Bullseye has the option outlet of Buzz, who is going to get the tap on the ball, but they keep hitting this around the net. At some point, you gotta pierce the defense. You gotta start testing them. You gotta attack the net. Flip reset. Oh, almost a second dodge from Tristan towards the net, but it's still defended by UTA. Can they hold on for another 5 here as Buzz climbs up Nava, trounces it down. Tristan, one last hope here as he gets a second touch off the top of his Fennec, but it isn't enough. UT Arlington Kit will take the win for game number 1.
Just a great UTA start there. I mean, they get that first goal, and it's really all they need. But beyond that, it's just a lot of battling in the midfield. Akron, I think you had mentioned in that first minute, it felt like Akron was starting to lean forward. It felt like they really had the control necessarily as they were getting most of the chances, but then all it takes is just opening the door a little bit. UTA has been a top team in the West for really as long as they've been together, even before it was Nava as that third to join Samba and Adverse. So I think you notice that the coordination's there. They're really not getting out of kilter, and I say the bread and butter has been using those mechanics to create awkward situations for the defense. Of course, that is the way that paves them to that game 1. Last time these teams met have gone to Akron, but UTA, they know they're capable of taking down this team.
And it barely went to Akron, you know, in game 7. So we may be hitting this seesaw back and forth in the series. But one thing is clear is that while those mechanics have been making Akron feel a little uncomfortable and been getting that one goal that UTA needed, I don't think as much has battle-tested UTA. Their defense does appear on lock. A shutout against Akron in game 1 is a very stoic performance. Akron may be needing more to battle-test that defense.
And then being able to always bring something else is, I think, the hardest part about playing as a team in Rocket League. Because sometimes you just have your playstyle you like doing that complements individual playstyles. You have something that you want to be able to execute on the pitch. And sometimes when that doesn't work, it can be difficult for a lot of teams. A lot of them almost feel like, well, my only tool is a hammer, so I just have to treat everything like a nail. Whereas other teams, they come with a whole toolkit. They have a lot of different paces, momentums, passing plays, and able to use more mechanics. That adaptation game is just as important as everything else in your fundamentals.
It looked like the changes may have came to form in the physicality there. Tristan was on the back wall on the goal line trying to get some piece of UTA to take them out of their form. Instead, they're moving right up the field there. Almost gets the passing play to go, and they've got another shot here. Never so close, but Akron once just as sturdy of a defense here against UTA, as just one goal was all these teams needed for the win last time around. Nava trying to set exactly that up here, but the fly goes outside.
See Samba right back in. Buzz able to react to it quite well here, as actually another lob is going to go forward. It's going to try to just pick out a spot. Nava with the slow play, but not winning that 50. UTA doing so well to always feel like they're just feeding the ball right back into the danger area. That pass nearly finding its mark, but cut out just in time. Akron with the quick reflexes keeping this one even.
Yeah, the Zips are in front of everything right now. It's very impressive as UTA. They're finding each other even when they have scoring opportunities. They're choosing to pass, but Akron choose to be in front of everything. Have a response for just about it all, but not everything. Finally, it tilts over and UTA get their first.
And really good save initially from Buzz. Problem is that was all their boost. Bullseye and Tristan trying to make up for it, but there's always going to be a seam, and if I trust anyone to find it, it will be Adverse. Dadverse, as he is affectionately known by so many in the CRL community, because he takes commands and he's going to ground you, send you to bed.
So Samba's getting called old, Adverse is getting called a dad, and Samba just claimed Nava to be the oldest player that exists.
He's got a whole family, yeah.
We got a family, a whole bunch of geezers, but we finally got a game, folks. Akron, their first goal of the series.
And being able to just get it off of putting the ball, it seems in a routine area, but Bullseye does well there. If you're going to hit it off the backboard, the first thought is usually put it high, make sure the defense can reach that one. But if they're already there on the backboard, hitting it below the defense forces them to deflect it either right into the middle of the goal, or it forces them to really just spike it straight down for a weak clear. It's a smart play to be able to put it in the worst possible position for the defense to deal with. Same, getting bumps like that. Buzz with a pinch down at wrong-footed Samba, but Bullseye too far away. The delayed hit is going to have to go to the corner instead. That one looked like it was open for Akron, but then the door closed on down on the counterattack. Adverse trying to catch up with it, but not able to fit it through on the near.
God, that would have been devastating for Akron to concede a goal there, but it would have been so joyous for them to get that one, or maybe the previous attempt. Everything worked out well, the bump play, the pass, but then no one to follow through. Akron, they had one little piece of the puzzle to fit in, and they just couldn't find it. It was under the couch or something. Eventually, they've got to find it, though, because while they have been able to tie this game, they have not experienced a lead yet this series, something they would love.
And Adverse trying to continue on the pressure. UTA doing so well to be able to pace themselves. This is really the only moments where they do get into trouble is when one of them is maybe a bit too far back. Tristan working it past one, and he can't shoot it much better than that.
I actually love the placement on this shot. Yeah, the defender's on the inside post, so why not force him even farther inside? With the height on that shot, it's just immeasurably difficult to save that ball. So that comes from the game sense, and of course the mechanics to shoot it that high and fast from Tristan. Akron now have a lead.
Ball off the backboard. It's one of my favorite things that has been developing more and more as players are getting more creative on how to set up offense. Going off the backboard and tapping it straight down. Didn't quite work there, but you can tell that was something that maybe they should keep in mind. There was not an immediate reaction from the defense, but as we see the defense getting better and better, as I think they're starting to warm up into this series. Certainly they're red hot on the side of UTA, particularly Adverse. He just doesn't seem to be missing today.
Feed the animal at this point. Oh my. I enjoyed the placement on the last shot, but come on. Do you get better than that? A heater as well. So, listen, the defenses, I was wondering if UTAs would get tested. Both defenses tested to their limits and being forced to act with perfection.
Ooh, Nava trying to get their way in. Not going to work. And Adverse, as I say, he doesn't miss. It's about as close as you get before, unless you're scoring. And because of that, UTA is going to get punished. All those high percentage chances just beckoning for a finish are going to be responded with a clean counter from Bullseye. Akron improbably in the lead here.
Sometimes at risk of the high percentage shots are not worth it. Right off of the crossbar, the post, it corralled around, and you couldn't believe it when it left the net there. Akron get their lead back, a quick response, and you know what? Quickness was needed, as there is only a minute left in this game. Less than that as well. Samba, close to the double tap here. Working the backboard, RUTA to find an equalizer.
Being able to work that backboard is so important because, like we talked about a lot in the Stockton and Northwood series, being able to drain out that boost is important, but being able to selectively take it high, take it to the mid, and force the defense to always be second-guessing themselves is crucial. It seems like Akron is kind of been losing that tilt. I mean, you got two of the most experienced players in terms of games played and years played, all of CRL, so apparently they've been around the block enough that it's not going to work. UTA to go back to their bag of tricks. Air dribble, maybe just kick it, start it. Samba with the delayed flick. Bullseye doesn't have it. So agonizingly close, but the old man in his retirement series is getting the goal to tie us up with 9 to go.
Bullseye just wishing that they were coordinated a little differently, that the boost was a little stronger, that the momentum wasn't pulling them so far away from the ball. But in that moment, you can't help it. And in this moment, I don't think anybody knows what to do. It is a mess hall in the middle of the field, time ticking down, and we got OT.
I don't even know what to think about that kickoff. They sent every single player straight at the ball on UTA. And that's honestly one of those things that's just so harebrained, it might as well work out. It's not even going to punish them there as we head into OT, as that was a normal kickoff and really yet another normal type of kickoff goal. But nothing normal about this series. We're going to have to go a little bit more deeper into OT to decide how this one's going to end as Adverse tries to slow play.
We knew it would be seesawing, and this game has been definitely a micro kind of depiction of that, as Akron, they've finally been able to gain their own leads here, but in OT, well, that's where it matters. That's where the win is garnered, and Tristan folds this ball with precision. That final dodge beat the defender.
Really smart from Tristan, getting the flip, and then beyond that, you can't win that challenge. You cannot get it through them. You cannot flick it over them. So what do? You pre-flip into the side, on the side of the defender, just to barely cut that one across them and get it through. Very hard to read from UTA, and therefore they will be falling on this one. But it took some doing. We said these series were close. The scoreline for just this game is really what we're expecting one of these teams to come out on in the end. 7 goals to decide it.
And I feel like Tristan just popped off this game. You broke it down perfectly, Taco. The game sense flourished there for Tristan's final play there. And it did on the first goal for them as well, where it was placed inside from the lone defender of Samba, trying to protect the entirety of the net. Tristan also had an assist. Tristan also had 3 of the 4 saves from this team. I just feel like sometimes you need that player to find their groove. Of course, it was Adverse on the side of UTA, but Tristan might have just had more better plays.
And you can't ask for much better than that from a player that, I mean, back in the day, we've talked about this before on Akron, Tristan was the Lion Blaze of his day. It was a player that people debated whether or not he should be allowed to play, because he's playing with pro teams, he's subbing for pro teams, he's starting for pro teams. And so when you do get those types of players in there, skill doesn't fade away, that experience doesn't fade away. And so if you trust him with a clutch play, then it's going to work on out. UTA, and maybe a little rattled from that one, but they've shaken it off. We're into the next game. We'll see how this one all works out, as it seems like UTA right back to business, forcing out some nice saves.
Yeah, the series now tied up in 1-1. And Akron finally have a win under their belt. Should love a lead too, but they're not going to get it off that possession here. Oh, Samba's going to put it right into the mess of players as it almost pinballs its way into the net. Trying past the midfield is Bullseye now, and Tristan is offered space on this play. What will he do with it? Double tap off the backboard. Perfect pass to Buzz, and he came just too late to the party.
Ooh, Adverse going for a flip reset. Quickly closed down from Bullseye. He knows the penalty if it isn't. Samba challenge off the ceiling. Buzz almost hits a whirly, but he's not able to finish it. Bullseye can't show him how it's done. Tristan, how about you? Sometimes simple is better. Straight into the middle of the field and into the back of the net.
Wow, this is UTA trying to weather a whole lot of pressure because even with the passes coming through for some of these players, their next avenue, their following objective is to knock out a defender. So much hustle and bustle to work through there. Of UTA, they can't figure it out. And so Akron, they get their lead. Maybe they'll have more. Bullseye cannot out-mechanic their way to a goal.
Yeah, I don't know why so many defenders focus on getting the saves. Just use the offensive player to do it for you. Bumps a player behind the ball to then clear it down. That was one of the more 200 IQ plays that I've seen in a minute. Let's see if we can top it here. A lot of collegiate education here on full display throughout this game, as Adverse will continue to take a 50, but he's going to lose a lot of that one. Luckily, Samba taking a deep curve back on the rotation, able to curve that one out into the corner.
Yeah, Saba said, no, Buzz. I'm not giving you your shot here. It's not happening. It was a great dunk on the 50-50. It was everything and more, but just an inch of getting that second goal for Akron. UTA playing considerable amount of defense compared to how much they've had to play throughout the series, but still, they're able to break loose and find some chances here. Bullseye almost looking like a defender against Buzz, but it's just a back pass to try and move their way back up the field here. Going to be difficult as they're eviscerated off the field.
It's a good demo to be able to take advantage of that, and I think that's where demos need to be worked into a lot of rotations. It's just to make sure if a defender is taking too much time, you make them really start to sweat. How about this one? No demo on the lead block, but he knew exactly where to go. Off-ball plays, getting Buzz out of the way and making an easy one for the 1-1.
Yeah, it's so smart to move that ball to the outside as well, and maybe even just to stall for a second, because it's like, okay, let's get that lead blocker information. We have time. There's no immediate challenger here, so let's dictate the pace. Let's move with our play style, and it was very effective for UTA. So again and again, we see a 1-goal lead or a tied-up game. There is no team that can just break loose from the other unless you've just got Buzz with a meteor strike like this.
Being able to go across so clean, but look at Tristan being able to set that one up perfectly, just in between what Adverse could reach and what Nava could actually see coming. Buzz coming out the blind side from the middle. Now we got Akron back in the lead, and it just seems like we are really seeing that seesaw, that wrestle, that tug of war with this game, where it really just has to go blow for blow, counter blow, and such. It looks like, as I say, that Akron has had enough of that. They want some breather room. They shove off UTA for a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, they added on a whole lot of weight to their end of the seesaw. Now UTA, they're up flying in the air and away from the ball there as it was taken low. Akron, they garner themselves a 2-goal lead with that play. They are matching up really nicely in the midfield. I'm loving these infield passes, the way they're finding each other, even the ability to follow their shot, go for some bumps, or maybe even a pinch play. It's working out so well for Akron as they look like they're working in unison.
And it's touches like that I do like from ETA, just those tiny touches to be able to go into the path. The problem is, it seems like Akron, they've gotten wise to it. They're not diving in recklessly. They know that UTA is probably going to go more calculated than anything else, so they're just trying to play close to the ball. It doesn't seem like the touches are really peerless and that they're not devoid of any flaws, but it definitely is doing enough that UTA isn't able to take just the easy path through. They're going to have to rely on those peak mechanics to be able to break on, and it seems like that is going to be pretty frustrating to do so, because now we've played 45 seconds with UTA on the Akron half, and yet I don't even think they've been able to record a shot.
They're doing their best. They're trying to get something to go here. Move forward. Across that half-court line, Samba will get the better 50-50. Adverse cannot climb to that ball, but Nava certainly can. Midfield pass goes right in the hands of Akron. They talked about the intentionality behind touches and trying to be devoid of any mistakes, right? But there seem to be a lot of mistakes from The Akron at this point handing the ball over to UTA. They're moving their way through, and they're able to start to close that score gap.
And that's just one of the most impressive things to see about high-level players is there's a game sense on the field. The latent knowledge in the back of your mind where everyone is on the field. And Adverse has that in spades. One of the best players in the West that we've ever seen for Collegiate Rocket League, and he shows it right there. Has to beat that player on the sideline. A lesser player would have tried to clear it down the line. Why not just take the lightest of touches across the player to the sidewall and put it into the open net? Now it's all back in play. Everything is there for the taking, so long as someone can get on the back of this one. No one wanted even to try. Nava playing it slow and trying to rebuild.
Gonna come down to these last few seconds here for UTA if they don't want Akron to have the lead in the series. Nava, oh, so close with Adverse to get that touch to go, but instead it's Buzz towards the net. Nobody's home. Bullseye can't put it through. The ball's still available. 3 seconds remaining. Samba on the counter has a timely boost to work with, and here's Nava not there to get the ball. It is Akron to steal it away.
I think Nava was waiting for a touch into the ceiling or potentially a deflection, and then when it goes straight down, just not able to be close enough to it. It's always so hard to know how to position yourself with 0 seconds, but that's why you got to make sure you take care of things before you get to that point. Akron certainly did. They had that 3-1, and despite the comeback attempt, it's just not enough at the end of the day. Akron is able to make those adjustments we were talking about. They're looking clean. UTA, I think they're still in it, but got to be frustrating to finally lose out on that kind of one-to-one trading of goals and then have to really mount a late-game comeback.
It is frustrating. They're trying to make those adjustments, but have you made your adjustments behind the steering wheel lately? You got to be clicking it, folks. Let's hear a quick word from our where this broadcast is presented by NHTSA and Click It or Ticket.
Game world or real world, seatbelts save lives.
There were 2 guys. Neither guy wore their seatbelt. One guy got a ticket, one guy didn't. 2 guys drove home from work. One guy wore his seatbelt, one guy didn't. One guy made it home. One guy didn't.
All right, the stage is set. Game number 4 feels like the halfway mark of the semifinals of the 2023 ESPORTSU Invitational, presented by Click It or Ticket and NHTSA. It feels like the halfway mark very much because, Taco, the last time these two teams did go to Game 7, it's been very much of a seesaw. That 1-2 goal lead for just a moment that Akron had was, I think, the only 2-goal lead we've seen throughout this series. It's been so tight.
Oh my goodness, it really has been. I was going to say that one looking like it's going to be an angle that can be converted, but no, it is not because the angle is too tight. Everyone just kind of looking at that one post across the goal, but sometimes you don't really expect easy ones to be available. Adverse trying to take them, but instead it is going to go right over his head. A banger from Buzz.
I just have this face of pure disgust right now. That is not right. I am unwell. Buzz, the redirect for the first goal of game number 4. We talk about the struggle of teams to gain some momentum, but off of a win and a play like that, I think University of Akron are feeling very well.
Oh my goodness, it's just stuff like that. That is why you have to talk about the individual talent of these players, because the team is really what matters, but those singular moments where it seems like there's just that microsecond where you have to make a play, when you have the skill to do it, that's all the difference. Buzz showing, yes, is graduating a player. Yes, might not be, I would say, the word on everyone's lips when it comes to the best in the East, but he shows, no, I'm very much in that conversation still. So nice thing for UTA to get a cold splash of water on their face to start this game off. They are not out of the woods. They don't have a reset, particularly if Bullseye gets this pass down. Akron cruising.
Yeah, we're finally seeing that momentum take form here. Of course, there's so many attackers here of Akron to worry about. Buzz being the first one, but really, it's the link up between Tristan and Bullseye in the midfield. They see each other. They know the best position they can put themselves in for those opportunities to transpire. and they just end up working so well. UTA feel like they gotta have their head on a swivel to defend some of these takes.
Particularly if both these players are getting that one. I thought Tristan was going for a double tap, but apparently all of Akron wanted involved on the scoring. It's more important to outscore your teammates sometimes than really to be able to outscore the opponents, as 50s now, they'll have to deal with the consequences. Adverse into Samba with full boost, and Nava waiting in the middle, and it's going to go right at Bullseye at the whole goal to shoot at, but unfortunately it only had one option to place it.
Oh my, that's right place, right time right there. Good prediction as well. Took a hop, a leap, and a little bit of boost to get a piece of that ball and keep it away one way or another. Akron are going to hold their lead, and now they'll extend it. Buzz just likes to be stylish today. He's got the sauce. He's got the finesse.
It's getting a nice little doink into the open net, which is, I would say, arguably the more difficult way to finish that. I feel like you probably could have just let that bounce and chase it down, but, you know, Buzz, he likes to put a little bit of a style on, a little stank, and so, you know, only fair. Certainly seems like Akron is really putting it on and pouring it on in a heavy supply for this game. 3-0, largest lead we have seen within this series so far, and we were talking about how this was really back and forth, this tug of war, and it seems like Akron has a ringer on their team up until maybe they get one a little bit too lackadaisically on the sidewall. Samba right into the middle for Nava.
Oh man, yeah. At a certain point, you have to pounce on these opportunities, right? Because you're running out of time with the halfway mark, down 3-0. You gotta dunk these 50-50s and send your team to the net. That was off of UTA looking very awkward on their goal line. All three defenders bunched up together, not even looking like they're face the right direction. So a goal desperately needed for UTA to stay in the conversation.
Ooh, Nava spikes it down past two players. That's a weak play from Tristan as they're not around it. Adverse off the backboard. Samba already there. It's a deflection off the ceiling. Nava curved around it, temporarily open. I love that pass back to Adverse, but I don't think the connection was truly there. One for the highlight reels in the making, but not necessarily in execution.
Yeah, listen, maybe it's going to take plays like that to get those extra goals now that UTA certainly need. Samba, reset incoming, bump play as well, and it all formulates for them. UTA on the comeback.
Sometimes flip resets are just a little pop-up. Other times they are a cannon into your back post. My word. Poor Buzz was waiting back thinking, this will probably be fine. What's he going to do? Put it top left? And suppose you find out the hard way sometimes.
That you do, especially when you got all three of these players from UTA just able to put on shots like that, and demos as well. Nava, no shot but a pass, and that'll work too. I thought the comeback, if it would happen, would be slow and methodical. No, it's been a storm.
And it's been violent as well. That's a bump on the last one, a demo on this one, and UTA is starting to realize that, okay, if Akron wants to play physical, that's fine, but I don't think they're going to like the taste of their own medicine. Certainly they're not going to like having a 3-goal lead and then slowly seeing it slip away. Pyro, I'm more surprised that all of that happened within this game, and we still have 90 seconds to go.
Somehow, some way. I'm not complaining, though, because every play has just been a beauty to watch. And, well, maybe not for the defenders when they have to concede a goal, because that stuff is hard to deal with. Especially when some of the time is spent in the black void of the respawn zone. A lot of players getting demoed on the side of Akron. They've got to be a little bit more evasive. They don't want to create paths for UTA to score again. That's certainly a path. It's a ball off the backboard. Samba wanted to collect, but Akron keen to get in front of it and to try and get their lead back.
See Adverse take that one down, and that's a nice patient play. Not only that, but being able to get all of that 50 to be able to put it down the line. Samba now. Control, or at least it looks like it. Buzz able to close that first gap. How about a dunk on a second one? Adverse needs to slow things down, but this is where Akron can really start to tighten the grip. They have all the momentum and the boost, and maybe even the delayed flicks from Tristan. That time, though, waited too long. Not able to get it past the defender. Samba also with a save, and despite Akron trying to barrel their way through, they've been making a steel wall in the back line.
Yeah, because there's been continued pressure, but they're really on a drought right now. UTA's defense has been incredible, and in part due to a lot of possession themselves, just not even allowing them to get chances. That's certainly one from Akron with the carry downfield. Now the demo. Can they get to the midfield to get this ball back up? Nava off the respawn is going to be in prime position to kick this away. 1 second now. Batted down. Nava across the field. Bullseye meets the ground. We've got overtime in game number 4.
I was kind of surprised by that touch from Bullseye. I think they wanted to make sure it went to the corner, but for a second it almost looked like they were trying to keep it up, play hero, and I don't know if that's necessarily what you want to do in that scenario. You certainly have not had the run of play, I would say, over the course of this game as it's continued to tick on down. But that's why OT, in a way, is kind of like a reset. It's like a brand new game, only this time it's all golden goal. Gotta play everything so much more carefully, much like this one. Pre-jump forward, thought Nava had the challenge, but instead opts for that boost pickup instead.
It's going to be the pick of the ball here from Tristan, but it goes right in the lap of Adverse. Hope to carry that towards the net, but a lot of corner play here for UTA. Try and find the seam to break through. Nava, Adverse, both up. Adverse, no, takes to the ground instead. It's that deep rotation of UTA that persists on and forces Akron to expend all their boost. Make sure they're keen to grab all the corner boost, and if they mistake, just once, it could provide the opening that UTA need, but they haven't pounced. They haven't attacked yet. They haven't found the back of the net.
And shout out to UTA, staying relevant on the player right there. It looked like a counterattack for Tristan and company, and they got bumped instead. I was going to work through how that works so well, but you can only stop Tristan for so long. The 50 from Bullseye. Adverse was just had to watch that one as Samba had the difficult chance trying to read that off the side wall. Too difficult, in fact. Couldn't get it to go. Akron on to match point, trying to find that berth into the grand finals.
Akron happy they got that flurry of goals at the beginning of game number 4, because otherwise UTA had stormed back and had taken the momentum and the win for themselves. Instead, there, Akron on defense in overtime had muscled through just about everything they needed to. Took the win, and well, we're on match point here, Taco. Looking forward to this Invitational. One of these teams is moving on to play Northwood University in the championship. So we get some incredible show matches out of this Invitational. I feel like either team faced up against Northwood will be a good one. We even heard from the team that they wanted to play UTA because they saw them at CECC. They made friends with them, but it's looking like with match point here, it could be Akron.
We had Akron in a lot of different championships. They were in the CRL National Championship in the previous semester. They've been able to get back a lot, actually, to that final game because there's something about Akron. It's one of the best prepared programs in the nation. They have some of the best recruiting, despite not being able to offer really all those full-ride scholarships that a lot of their schools do, which seems to be the cheat code for some programs in the eyes of some players and fans. But I would say Akron has shown that it's exact type of situation where Adverse and company have done so well, but sometimes Tristan just does that much better.
He does. I'm sorry, I just love this after the goal celebration here. It's almost like a Fortnite emote with the Centis ride on the post there. But he'll get eliminated, as will UTA, with their chances of scoring the first goal here and maybe setting the tone to go up against that very fortified, very formidable, very reputable Akron. The University of Akron. Instead, University of Akron, they've got the lead, and they can see the finish line here in game number 5.
And seeing the finish line is one thing, but also sometimes it gets you a little bit blinded. You see that light of that glory just slowly creeping on into your vision. You're saying, well, you know, it just seems like it's all guaranteed, and that is a dangerous thought to have because nothing is going to be guaranteed when you're at this level. That one goal not get you complacent. We've already seen UTA make the comeback. Let's see. They got some more in them. Maybe a successful completion at that. Adverse gonna have to deal with it out of the corner as Buzz is trying to hound him.
Hound them they shall. It's pounded all the way across the field, though. Akron are prepared for it. It's over Tristan from Buzz. Off the backboard. Now Tristan again, but each touch is high flying, and there's no chance to send it towards the net except for Nava, the other side. Batted away by Buzz. Tristan back down to Adverse. And it's a flurry of touches here, and none garnered for shots on target, but feel like they're battling ever so closely to that chance. Adverse towards the net, follows up with the demolition, but Akron, they are sending themselves back towards their opponent's net. Each shot coming so close, and this one is finally gonna cap it off. From the back and forth, Akron can strike.
That's the thing of beauty. Bullseye off the backboard, and Tristan knows that shot is something it could have, but that's not going to be too difficult for the defense to deal with. How about just hitting a short one off the sidewall, because that's why you have a 3-man rotation. Buzz put into the back post. The placement doesn't have to be good. It's just because Samba is reaching. They're scrambling. They're panicking on the back line. That was just a masterclass from Akron.
And you know what? Akron have to make sure they don't end up putting themselves in a position where they might start to be panicking, because you got to remember last game that it was a 3-0 lead from Akron that dwindled down quickly to a tied up format. That second half play from UTA could still come out in game number 5. They may need it too, Taco, as we are nearing that halfway mark and a 2-goal deficit against UTA.